Hey y'all, what's up? So if y'all don't know, Wednesdays are my off days, okay? Although in ministry, are you ever really off? No. So anywho, I'm coming at you guys with a prophetic word. I think you guys will see this word Friday, but regardless of the fact, desperation leads to deception. Desperation leads to deception, period. So God started dropping this word in my spirit yesterday, and I did not recognize that this is what God was doing. So, God, where should I even start? Okay, we'll start with scripture. I'm not going to go to it just because you guys can go search it out for yourself, but just go to Joshua 9. And pretty much in Joshua, there were these people that, what did they do? 9 and 12. So pretty much they acted as if, because they knew Joshua was going to come in and conquer their land. They didn't, and kill everybody. They didn't want to be killed. So what they did was they decided to deceive Joshua by like putting holes in their clothes, like making themselves look all ratty tatty, leaving bread out so it can mold, you know, things like that, to try and prove that they came from somewhere that they didn't come from, or that they were these people that they weren't, right? Obviously Joshua found out the truth. But what I want to focus on in this is how these people were so desperate to not reach a certain result that they allowed themselves to deceive Joshua. So their desperation led to deception. Now you may be saying, Sunray, okay, boom, how does this apply to me? So a lot of you guys are so desperate, and I was going to use this word the other day when I said about the video where I said the video that came out yesterday. What was I saying? I was saying like how, y'all so I said y'all are so anxious for something to happen. I really wanted to use the word desperate. So I'm so grateful that the Lord brought me back today so I could actually use that word, because that's what I wanted to use. A lot of you guys are so desperate for a word. You are so desperate to hear something that you guys don't realize that is putting holes in your armor. What is your armor? Read Ephesians 6 and 11 and all the stuff that comes after it, right? That talks about the armor. I just read Ephesians 6 in general. But anywho, when you are desperate, when you are so desperate to hear a word from the Lord, what's going to happen? You're going to be ready to hear anything. You're like, what? That doesn't make sense. Whatever. Okay, boom. A lot of people that I talked to this week that had an encounter with witchcraft, tarot readings, what is it? What they do, whatever it is that they do. I don't even want to give them that much credit. But anywho, all the stuff that they do, it comes at a time when people were so confused in their journey with the Lord, so confused in their journey with life, that they were seeking an answer. They're like, yo, I just need an answer. God, I just need to hear something. They got desperate. And that is how you have these people, they're preying on your weakness. They're preying on your vulnerabilities. So, for example, there are so many false prophets on YouTube that are preying on your vulnerabilities. And I can notice them right away. For example, they'll be like, caution, the Lord wants you to know this. Or, you're headed down the wrong path. Since when do you ever have to use fear, and not fear in the sense of awe and how we awe at the Lord, so there's fear there, but make somebody feel like, oh my gosh, I'm really doing the wrong thing. When you leave a prophetic word, you should feel encouraged. The purpose of prophecy is to encourage, it's to console, it's to strengthen. You get what I'm saying? So when you have a prophetic word, a prophet, and therefore prophets, and that's a whole nother conversation, and God, I think I'm going to touch on it in this video because we tired of seeing it. Ain't that right? Okay, maybe not. But anywho, let me continue going on with the word. So long story short, you guys, desperation leads to deception. So when you are desperate for a word, that's when I need you guys to chill out. Go back to the basics, because one thing that I learned about God speaks from a place of peace. God speaks from a place of peace. God speaks from a place of peace. Because if God gives you a word while you are confused, guess what? More confusion. You weren't in peace when you received that word, which means you weren't in a space to actually have that word rooted so you can have faith, so that you can trust on it. So in moments where you're confused and you're going through, back to the basics, God, What's the last thing that I know for sure that you told me about this situation? What's the last thing that I know for sure, without a doubt, before any confusion set in, before any anxiousness set in? Okay, so I just really want you guys to understand this. These false prophets out here, these tarot readers out here, they're preying on weakness. I had so many sessions this week with people that told me, Sunray, would you believe the moment that I was really seeking a word from the Lord, the moment I was really wanting to hear something, a tarot reading popped up. Somebody DM me on Twitter. Somebody DM me on Instagram. It's like they just know, and they're expecting, you get what I'm saying? They're expecting for this thing to actually occur, or expecting for you to bite the bait. And that's why it's so important, why God tells us in Ephesians 6:11 that we must put on our full armor of God at all times. It's necessary. Okay? Now, okay, I gotta leave the other part alone. I can't talk about it, because when I can't talk about something, the spirit get real heavy on me and like telling me to shut up. So y'all, this is the prophetic word for today. I pray that you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and that you really take this to the Lord. Ask God, what have I been desperate about? What areas am I so desperate to hear from you from? Because also too, desperation are areas that you're lacking in your faith in. If you're so desperate to hear a word from the Lord about something, and you know he already talked to you about that area, that's showing a lack of faith. Because why don't you believe what he already told you? Why do you need 1,000,001 confirmations if he already told you and you know he told you? Because it's the area you're struggling in your faith in. You know, like people say, it's nothing wrong with asking for confirmations, but it becomes a time when it's just super desperation and you're really just not believing in God. You're testing God at this point. You're like, okay, God, well, if you really told me this, then do this by this time. And God like, who's the father here? You or me? All right, I finished everything. I said everything that I was supposed to say. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.